on this computer. Okay, so tonight's, and this light is going to drive me crazy. I might just have to move my computer because I'm like standing right now. I don't even have a chair. But tonight's call is going to be on role play, scripts and objections, and kind of like how to find people, because this has kind of been the biggest things that I've heard lately. And I kind of want you guys to throw things at me that either you have struggled with or you're hearing like your coaches are struggling with, and Rachel and I will go through and help you with role playing. And so basically, like, I'll take the first one, and whatever objection or thing that you are struggling with, I'll basically be the coach, and then I'll let you be the client, kind of like showing the objections you're getting. So the other thing I wanted to kind of talk to you about is if you, and this is kind of something I was struggling with, so I reached out to some elite coaches that I have a mastermind group with that we do a Zoom call once a week. And so I actually also want to try to get together kind of like a mastermind pod for you guys that are really trying to grow your business, so that we can kind of work with you as well, because that once a week phone call to me is so valuable. So we want to kind of, work with the willing, work with the people that are showing up. So we appreciate you so much for hopping on our team calls. I know I've been super flaky lately. I've been like, okay, no team call last minute, and I really, really hate doing that. So I'm just telling you, Thursdays at 8:30 are my non-negotiable from now on. Hey, Heather. So I just apologize for that. I just feel like what works for me is getting my Beachbody done the first thing in the morning after my workout at 45 minutes. So I was reaching out to my mastermind group, and I said, if I have these 45 minutes, what's the most important things that I need to be doing? And they said, okay, I would make one quality post on Instagram, and it's early, so Instagram is fine for me to do that, but I would wait to share that on Facebook. And when you make a post on Instagram, don't share it just to Facebook. Copy the text and then repost as a new post, because the way Facebook works is they don't want you to share from a third party. So Buffer, Hootsuite, things like that. If you have to use it, that's fine, use it, but posting directly to Facebook is going to be much more beneficial. The same thing is if you have a like page, don't post the content over there and then just share it onto your personal page. A lot of people's like brains now, when they see people shared things, they just like kind of scroll right past it. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's not new content. It's not something that you had to say. They don't really care about it. So, and Facebook shows it to less of your friends. So always create new content. And then she said, make a good like quality post, kind of like a call to action post that then I can go through, and anybody that likes and comments the next day or later that day, those are the people that I can message. Do a couple Facebook stories. And Jen Richardson hosted the National Wake Up Call. Was it this week? Yeah, I have to listen to it. I didn't get to listen to all of it, but it was amazing. And then she shared with us also that she has a web page of where she gets her Instagram hashtags from. That's helpful, and I'll share that in our team page tonight as well. But I'm going to go through, and that's going to be my personal development tomorrow morning when I'm getting ready, is the National Wake Up Call. So if you're ever looking for personal development in your car while you're making dinner, doing the laundry, getting ready, whatever, just make sure that you're feeding your brain with that. And I was feeling like super burnout today, and I realized I haven't done PD in like 4 days. That's why. When I start to feel like crap, it's because I'm not doing personal development, and then I start comparing myself to everybody. So make that your non-negotiable. It's a reason. Beachbody wants us to do it for a reason, and I will tell you firsthand, I feel crappy when I'm not doing it. So obviously the National Wake Up Calls are amazing for that. They go back like literally, I mean, they've been doing them for years and years and years. And on the app, the podcast, you can go back like, I know it's at least 2012 you can go back to. So there's an unlimited amount of top coaches that are making 6 and 7 figures in the business that you need to listen to what they're saying. So especially this last one, Jen Richardson is killing it. And most of her things she sells through Instagram stories. I know Rachel and Heather are really good with their Instagram stories. Angie, do you do Instagram stories too? Kind of. I know you're present on Instagram. I always do Rachel and Heather and Michael, because you guys are always like my suggested, and I think it's because you're usually up the same time that I am, and so I always see yours, but I have to be better at trying to make sure like coaches in my downline are added me so I get to see theirs as well. But she says to try to do like 8 stories a day, and yeah, that sounds like a lot, but I probably do 7 just of my workout, and there's a little hands-free option. So what I do is I set up my tripod, and I got like a $20 tripod, and it works awesome. So go on Amazon, find a tripod. I set it up. Heather and Rachel have been using music in their background. Typically, I don't suggest using music, but I guess Instagram, it's okay if it's because the story is only like 15 seconds or less. Anything if it's like a minute or like longer than 15 seconds, it can flag you for copyright. So just be mindful of that. And if Rachel or Heather have come across anything that you find with music, let us know. Keep us posted, because I just don't want anybody to get their account shut down or anything for something stupid. But I think as of right now, Instagram stories are fine with music. And either Spotify or Pandora you can have on the background. But check their stories out. I just did a story. I was dancing because my Spotify playlist today was like 2007 dance songs, and I was like, yes, that was like my college like club music. So I was literally like dancing and being stupid, and like, I don't care if people think I'm weird. I want to attract weirdos. So if you think I'm stupid, bye. And I was like dancing and tripped over my weights, and I got it all in my story. So like something little like that, you would play that up, because that's the type of people that don't take themselves too seriously that you want to attract. So you may like post something on your Facebook, and I know I've seen Rachel's really good at this, like, to see the rest, find me on Snapchat or something, or Instagram, sorry, or check out my IG stories. And things like that. So trying to get people to see you, because it's kind of like a sneak peek into your life, and they get to know you better. They get to trust you better. Things like that. So just check out definitely follow Jen Richardson. I have to share some good ones. If you guys come across some people that you kind of like following, just share their stuff in BU, so we can all kind of take a look. Because I mean, if somebody is doing something and it's getting your attention, it's going to get your client's attention too. So don't try to be anybody else. But if you see something that you're like, oh, that's so fun, or that makes me like them, like, just kind of duplicate it and make it your own. So that's kind of my rule of thumb with stuff like that. All right, so I want to talk about objections, role play, and kind of tips on scripts. And I don't like to say scripts per se, because I used to do a lot of copying and pasting in the beginning, and I look back and I'm like, I was just going to say Jatana Jackson is great. So she's really fun, but like sometimes I like want to compare myself to her way too much, because she's gorgeous and always full makeup, beautiful, hot body, and I'm like, I love you, but that's not me, because this is me 90% of the time. And like, she works out at 5 o'clock in the morning with a full face of makeup, and I'm like, what is happening here? So I love her, and she does really great stuff. But at the same time, like, you need to go from your tribe. My tribe is not totally made up people. My tribe is like Hot Mess Express. So do what makes you happy. And if something like bothers you about somebody, I try to be very mindful of that, because I don't want people to look at me and think, oh, she's got it all together. So, and nothing bad about her. I wish I could be made up at 5 in the morning. It's just not important to me. So, but yeah, take a look at how she does. And then, all right. So what is a common thing that you hear from people when you're either inviting them to coach or join a challenge group? Throw them at me. You can unmute yourself and say it. You can write it in the chat, whatever. But we'll kind of go through and help you with that. And don't not say anything, because this is the time for us to help you. And I know that somebody has told you no in one way or another.
I think a common thing that probably all of you have heard is, you're doing Isogenics or Advocare. Yeah, I've already done stuff like that. Where people are like, I've already done that kind of stuff. It doesn't work and it sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so say somebody says, go ahead and I'll be you inviting somebody, and then you kind of say something along that line. So like, hey, Lisa, I thank you so much for the love of my post. I am just having so much fun. Do you think that this boot camp would be something you'd be interested in joining us?
Yeah, I've done stuff like this before. I've tried Isogenics. That sucked. And tried Advocare, a lot of money spent, but no real, if you keep buying the products and they're really expensive, then you might see results, but you have to keep spending hundreds of dollars a month in order to even see any results.
Yeah, and I totally understand that because, it's hard to dish out money if you're not seeing results. I can totally appreciate that being, something that's really hard for you. It also kind of sounds like, you didn't have a good experience in the past. So, kind of tell me about what has worked for you in the past and what you have seen results with that you've stuck with. Has there been anything in the past that you've, kind of enjoyed?
I would say, just clean eating and working out.
Okay, yeah. And so, I really think what it boils down to is just kind of focusing on the basics. And, there's so many supplements out there, and you just have to be careful because, if I bought everything that I heard about, I would be wasting a small fortune. And
Right.
I don't know, about these other products. These other companies, I can't speak to them. But what I do know is that I've lost my 40 pounds of baby weight with Beachbody workouts that I can do from home and one shake a day that actually replaces my prenatal vitamin that I was using even before pregnancy and after pregnancy. For my hair and nails. It's also a quick and easy, healthy meal that I will drink and my husband drinks. And I even sneak spinach in his shake, and he is literally the most picky person ever. So, I love that because it's like a chocolate peanut butter shake that is really easy for busy mom life. And I love that the workouts are done at home. I don't have to worry about childcare. I don't have to run to the gym, pack an extra bag, so I totally can appreciate that. But what I love is that it works for me. And my sister has lost 110 pounds. And, I just really love that my challengers are having great results. So, I can only speak for myself and my clients and, the people that I love that I've shared this with. But, there's also a 30-day money back guarantee. So if it's something that you didn't see results, you could always return it. So do you think you'd want to join us? And do you think 30 minutes of workouts from home would be something you could handle?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I could handle, but I really like working out in a gym atmosphere and having the people around me.
So what I love also, and I totally get that a lot. I used to be a huge gym rat when I first started, and I even coached, and I would do my workouts, but I would still go to the gym, and I was still trying to run. I was trying to do a little bit of everything. But what I found is that I like the engagement with others. So what I actually do is I found a virtual gym buddy, and we work out and we Zoom together the same day every day. And that's the reason I get out of bed. So I'm still interacting with somebody, but I'm not having to leave and drive and scrape the ice off my car and all of that. So if that's something that would be working for you and would keep you accountable, we can totally plug you in with our virtual gym buddy and match you up with somebody. Would that work for you?
That sounds like something I could do. Yeah. Do you want me to throw anything else at you?
No, I mean, and literally, it's just, you have to be a good listener. I can totally appreciate that instead of being like, well, that's not really true because my product is great.
Right.
Put yourself in their position, agree with them, because at one time or another, we've all been through one of these objections that, or we were probably all skeptical of Shakeology before, think about the first time you heard about it. You're like, yeah, $130? No, thank you. That's stupid,
Right.
So, I think it's just really important to be a good listener. And the more that you can kind of girl, I totally get that. But here's what I found. So, and talk to them like you would talk to your best friend. And I do a lot of voice messaging because it's a lot of typing everything I just said. So just voice message. And when I actually do my invites, I do a very generic voice message. Say I made a call to action post the day before. And then on Facebook, I go, and you can actually voice message on Instagram too, which I love. So on Facebook, I go and I say, hey girl, thanks so much for the love of my post. I just wanted to let you know that, it means so much to me putting myself out there. And I think you would be such a perfect addition to our tribe. Have you ever thought about joining us working out from home? So something generic like that. And then you can send that message. And then once you pull up that message, there's a little box with an up arrow, and you can click it and you can forward it. So forward it to, 10 people. There's 10 invites right there. So it's super simple. If you keep it, don't be like, how's your daughter Ashley doing? It's everybody, but I do something like that. And then maybe type in or say something and by the way, oh my gosh, your son is so freaking cute. I just love following your posts. So doing something generic and then maybe something quick that's personal is helpful. So was that good for that?
Yeah.
Any other questions on that? Okay. Angie says, lately people are telling me they don't think they can do the time nutrition or a daily workout. They feel like they have to be as intense as. Okay, that is a very good point. And for that, 20 or 80-day obsession is not for beginners. So I would say, girl, totally get it. What I started with is 21-day fix. It's so doable. And what I love is you can still have chocolate. You can still have wine. You don't have to have it at a specific time. You just focus on what to eat, when to eat, how much, or what to eat and how much to eat. So I don't think I would have been successful if I started at 80-day nutrition or 80-day obsession right away. So I also don't want my people to think that's their perspective. This is an intense, very strict, structured program, and it's not for beginners. So I would say, girl, don't worry about that. I don't want you to, get frustrated and focus on that. But let me tell you about 21-day fix, which is like literally my soulmate workout or whatever it is. So I would say that, and definitely, I haven't started anybody with 80-day obsession. All of my clients, I'm like, if they're asking me about 80-day obsession and they haven't finished 21-day fix, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. Like, it's 21 days.
I've even tried to suggesting a little obsessed, which is only 5 days, and clean week, which is only, it's only a week, so it's short. And everybody's just like, yeah, but that's a lot. And I'm just like, well, that's working out. I don't know.
In the Emerald Factory, is this on computer or in person that you're having these conversations?
Usually on the text.
Okay, so you can always post screenshots. Either in BU or Emerald Factory, and then just say, hey, how would you respond to this? So I can respond individually and help you with that. But for the most part, I would just say, the biggest battle is the motivation. The biggest battle is just getting started. And what I've found is that you just have to decide what you want. Like, you just have to choose your heart. Is it hard to eat healthy? Is it hard to eat clean? Or is it hard to look at yourself in the mirror and feel like you just hate what you see? And so I really think that it's important to just get real with people, because if they're not ready to commit to 5 days, they don't want it. And so you have to, kind of be real, but still compassionate, and, put yourself in that position and, just show that. And that's a good time where, Angie, to show your, transformation. What if you lost like 60 pounds, Angie?
Now it's more like 70.
That is awesome. That is so cool. So, make a recent transformation. I think you did recently, didn't you?
Yeah.
So they just pop that into a messenger or text and be like, girl, that girl on the left hated it. It was so hard for her, but I just decided that I had to choose my heart. Did I want to be, uncomfortable in my skin, or did I want to work out for 30 minutes a day and choose veggies over pizza? And I think that when they see that and they see like, wow, she's so right. Like, if she can do it, I can do it. And that, I think in that conversation, the best part is just to be real and don't try to say it's easy, because it's not. It's 100% easier to choose pizza and wine, over spaghetti squash or something. So I think that's probably been my biggest thing is just being real and letting people know I still slip up. I still have cheats. I'm not perfect. Because on the outside, a lot of people see your results and see your journey and think that you're just like this rabbit food munching person, So, but yeah. Tacos and Oreos, exactly. I went to Panera today and definitely indulged in some broccoli cheddar soup, but I was like, you pick two. So I got salad and a soup. She's like, do you want a cup or a bowl? And I was like, oh, that wasn't supposed to be an option, but a bowl. So yeah, I did really bad today. I don't usually get that option. I blame her. But, so yeah, even though I had a bad day, I still got my workout in. I still was really structured with drinking a lot of water. So you're going to have bad days, but does that derail your progress for the last 24 days or whatever? No, just get over it, move on. If you need to post about it on Facebook, that's fine. But this is the other thing about that, is because this is how I used to be, is I'd be like, oh my gosh, I did so bad today and I had a baguette instead of da-da-da. Normal people think, girl, get a grip. There's nothing wrong with that. So you need to always preface it. If you are going to be saying something like that, just be like, no. Is it a deal breaker? No. Is it, could I have made worse choices? Yes. Because people want to come to your rescue in so many things. So if you're making a transformation, you're like, the girl on the left is fat and ugly. People are like, no, you were beautiful. And they're going to miss the whole point of your post. So you always have to put a positive spin on things, or else people want to be your cheerleader and say, don't say that, you're beautiful. So to avoid that obnoxious, okay, great, I made this awesome post and everybody is focused on what I said about me on the left. And so whether it's, talking about being hard on yourself for this, or like everything needs to have a positive spin on it. And that, cause that's just cause you're everybody's cheerleader. So they want to come to your rescue. So that's something that I've definitely seen throughout the years, is that you have to be positive, even in your transformations, and focus on, the girl on the left was broken. The girl on the left was like uncomfortable in her skin, like the girl on the left could not go into her closet and pick anything and feel comfortable. So things like that, instead of like, breaking yourself down in anything, whether it's, talking about falling off track or things like that. What other objections are you guys getting?
So I know 2 of my coaches have told me on multiple occasions that they're getting discouraged because of the price objection. Now that was before the $10 off this month. I know one of these coaches is doing 80-day obsession, and she had showed me what she was telling people. And I kind of told her the same thing. I said, I wouldn't lead with 80-day obsession, because nobody who's a beginner is going to start out with that program. So take advantage of, the $150 for this month. And if people don't see the value in it, they're just going to say it's too expensive. But you personally, like, what do you say to people when they say that it's too expensive or that they can't afford it?
Sorry, I'm distracted by your beer, Amanda. It's just not right. I'm jealous.
Who has a beer? Oh, Amanda.
I thought it was. I was like, I want that. And then I apologize. I called you out.
She's like, I'm gone.
Okay. So price objection. Yes, I love to say, like, oh my gosh, well, it's actually on sale it's on special this month. And then there's a bunch of different options. So then I also like to kind of break it down into, so it basically comes out to $3 a day, $4 a day, whatever it is, whatever price option you're going for a month of Shakeology. The workouts are over, and the access to Beachbody On Demand is basically your Netflix of fitness. That comes out to $7,000 worth of workouts, plus a meal plans, all the meal plans, plus a fixed date cooking show, which literally walks you through how to make healthy boot camp approved recipes. And literally, like, every single workout, you can just, like, go do a challenge du jour if you get bored. There's so much stuff there. So for me, I personally love that. It's like having a personal trainer in my house. Then you get the containers, you get the shaker cup. I went to Target the other day. The shaker cups were $11. So, like, for real, like, just kind of talk up everything you get. You get a set of containers. Now, I get people a lot that say, I already have a set of containers. If you have kids, these things are amazing toys. And the longer you have them, they don't fit as good. They don't fit as tight. And, like, you don't want your dressing spilling all over your lunchbox or your bag or whatever. So I always like to tell people that too, is, it's always good to have more, because one, I'll give it to Adley and she'll go crazy with containers for 10 minutes or something. I'll keep her satisfied. So and then the other thing is that if you put them in the dishwasher or whatever, they don't stay closed as tight. So it's always good to have extra. So I'll get that sometime, and that's kind of how I combat that. But I basically say, it's an investment, but it's, basically you have everything for the year, except for the Shakeology, if you want to get that every month, which I do find helps my clients lose about an average of 5 pounds more a month if they're sticking to their meal plan. So that's why I love it. It's really just a matter of you eating out less, and then you're going to be meal planning and buying the food that you have on your meal plan, instead of, going out to dinner and going out to doing this. And, most people, if they're really, really, really not strapped for cash, because some people really are just really struggling, but if they're not, they can find ways, like they're eating out at Chick-fil-A or doing this or doing that, like it all adds up. So I like to actually go into having the conversation about budgets and meal plans and groceries and shopping at Aldi's, things like that, because that, for me, I really, really didn't have the money when I started. Like, I know some of you probably have heard this. I had $7 in my bank account when I started as a coach, and I put it on the credit card. So my sister Melissa, she got it as a birthday present. My mom and her mother-in-law went together on it. If you want it enough, you will find a way. So I think it's just really important to kind of like give those situations too, and kind of say, like, girl, I was so nervous to do it because I was really, really strapped for cash. But you know what? It's honestly one of the best things that I've ever done for myself. And I would pay double now if I knew, then what I knew now. So just kind of, again, relating it to yourself. I talked a lot of verbiage. You don't need to say all of that whatsoever. Kind of focus on a couple of things I said, take some of them. But again, just kind of relate, girl, I totally understand, but what I found is, and then talk about budgeting. How many times do you guys think you eat out a month? How many times, where do you shop? Have you ever heard of Aldi's? Like things like that. And then is there any other budget money tips, either Rachel or Heather, that you have?
No, I agree with what you said. I typically tell people that, I felt the same way starting up. I was, on maternity leave. We only had a single income coming in, but, the things I'd went through, like I battled eating disorders. I battled, self-confidence issues, and I would pay double if I knew what I knew now. And like, obviously, and I told, my coaches, because they get like uncomfortable with it, but I'm like, once you see the value in it, like I don't get uncomfortable anymore talking about price, because I know what it's worth. I know what it's done for me. But they don't understand that yet because they haven't used it, So I think as long as they're, relating it to themselves and saying, girl, I felt the exact same way, but, this is what I found, or, I've replaced it with my daily coffee. Like my aunt told me that. She's like, I stopped drinking Starbucks and it actually saves me money still drinking Shakeology. I'm like, I know. So I think like just being relatable, like you said, helps a lot.
Yeah, and this is good too. Angie said she's presenting it as you pay for the Shaco $130, so that's $4 a meal. And you get a year's subscription for $20, $7,000 for $20. So that's true too. And then
I often bring up the Starbucks issue too. I mean, it's not even $4 a day, and people spend more than that multiple times a day at Starbucks. So whenever I bring up the Starbucks thing, they're like, oh, I guess that's true. I do spend a lot of money at Starbucks.
Yeah, and your tribe is going to be a lot like you usually too. So if you think of something that like the people that are like your tribe and followers, you think of something that you waste money on. For me, if I see a sweater on freaking Facebook, I'm like, need that. Like, no, you don't need another freaking sweater. Stop it. So, so I like to kind of like talk to other people and feel them out and know, but like if there's somebody that like. Just talking about different things like and you can ask them a couple questions. Do you eat out often? Do you go to Starbucks? And just ask them a couple questions. Like, there's your money right there. And if you really want to make the change, like you've seen that I have made, it's just that easy. You have to show up every day, but you have to also be willing to make sacrifices. That's what I was looking for.
I also think that like having your own transformation, no matter what that is super important too, so that you have that to back it up. Like, look what it did for me. Whether you don't have weight to lose, the muscle tone, or what it's done internally for you, like I think that's huge. And I know a lot of people who don't have the transformation struggle with that too. So us like really being a product of the product 100% like is really important. With that being said, I just had pizza for dinner, so I'm going to
You're pregnant, so it's different.
Okay.
But no, I 100% agree, because for the longest time, you guys, I've always would be like, check out my sister Melissa's results. She's lost 111 pounds. And people would be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because I didn't really have I had lost probably 30 pounds prior to finding Beachbody. So I lost and toned up a good bit, but I didn't have like a great like transformation. I had gained muscle and things like that, but post baby was where I really had a chance to say this was solely Beachbody. And so that was really cool for me to finally have, where I'm not having to use my sister's, because I would use mine before and people would be like, yeah, well, I don't even look like your starting point, so that's not motivational to me. People would literally tell me that when I shared my results. So I'd be like, okay, well, let me show you another one. But so I kind of stopped showing mine because it was literally me at like 130 pounds to 120 pounds, which for some people that have a lot of weight to lose, that's, like I said, it's not motivating. So another thing that's so important too is if like, you have a new client, this is what I've been doing, is kind of saying, especially if there's somebody that's like struggling with motivation, I love to talk to them about adding in a 3-day refresh. So when they're checking out, it's like $40 extra if they get the 3-day refresh without the Shakeology. Then I like to say, do you know how like when you first get started and you first start to see results, you start feeling like really motivated. You're like, okay, I got this. And like, that's why I love the 3-day vegan cleanse, because you get it. And right off the bat, I want you to take your pictures and your measurements and your weight and then take it again 3 days later. And that is the kind of motivation that's going to get you through it. And then you're like, okay, I got this. So that's kind of how I word it. And the last 3 challenge packs I've sold, they've all been like, okay, yeah, I added it at the end. Sure, why not? Like, it is so much easier than you think. You just have to ask. Don't think in your head, oh, are we spending $150? I'm not going to want to spend $40 extra. If you tell me I'm going to lose weight in 3 days, $40, whatever, that's I can't do math. I was trying to do how many Starbucks that was. But if you didn't watch my live video from yesterday, there's more proof of not being able to be good at math. But that was a good one talking about volume. But I have lots of other videos from other more qualified people to help you with that too. But yeah, so just go for the ask. If people say, no, I think I'm good with that. Okay, great. I'm so excited for you. Let's get you started. And so when I'm explaining the program too, I kind of say, all I need from you is your email and your favorite Shakeology flavor or ice cream flavor if you haven't had Shakeology yet. And so if there, that kind of helps you in understanding what flavor. For me personally, I love chocolate vegan. I drank regular chocolate for the first year. I've been a coach almost 5 years. And I've drank chocolate vegan the whole other time because for me personally, I just feel better without dairy. Some people really notice a difference in flavor. I do not. And so I always encourage that for people because I talk a lot I used to, I don't really as much anymore, but I would talk a lot about my stomach sensitivities. And I had a lot of those people that followed me. So that's where I always recommend. If I talk to people, I'm like, if you have any dairy issues, I always suggest the vegan. I feel better with it. I don't really notice the flavor difference, but if you've had the regular chocolate before and haven't had an issue, go ahead and go with that. So that's kind of how I do that. Just because I know for me, my body does better with it. But also, if you ever, just thinking of Shakeology objections, if you ever get somebody that's like, man, did you notice the first week that it cleans you out? I personally noticed this the first week I did it. And I have a lot of people that say that. And typically the people that say that are kind of like living on processed foods, things like that. And your body is like, whoa, what's all these, nutrients and things. And so what I tell people is, that's okay. You can do a half a scoop if you want and then build up to it. I personally went through that as well. It's basically your body adjusting to it's a good amount of vitamins, prebiotics, and probiotics. So it's literally your body kind of getting rid of the crap. And so I'll tell people that. And if you ever see that and then people are like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And that's usually not an issue, but you can always tell people if they come to you. I don't scare people because I don't get this a ton, but people that typically have a bad diet sometimes notice that, or sensitive stomachs. And I kind of explain it like that. So if you ever have that as well. Okay. So we said, let's talk about coaching now. So our big focus is inviting people to coach. And I know a lot of people think, oh my gosh, that's so scary. I don't even know what, Don't worry about it. We have coach training. We have resources. You can plug people into our team page. You do not have to create your own, you don't have to recreate the wheel. Just invite people to join our tribe because like sitting here, talking to other people, like-minded people, and, knowing that you have the support, being able to post in our team page when you're struggling or, whatever, that's what you're inviting people to. You're inviting people to a sisterhood, a community. And like, just think about it. Like, can you imagine yourself without finding this? Can you imagine yourself if your coach didn't invite you because they were scared that you'd think you're a weirdo? Like, it's such a great thing. It's such a great way to, we're all busy and we could easily find something else to fill our time with, but this is something that's gratifying. This is something that's helping you to be a better person. And why would you not share that with somebody? Maybe it's for them. Maybe it's not. Maybe they want it for the discount. Maybe they want to, work their business, but whatever it is, like, it's not your job to decide, it's theirs. And if it's a no, it's a no right now. It's not a no forever. I've had people literally come back to me 3.5 years later. Okay, I'm ready to do this. Cool. So, don't write people off. So how are you guys going about inviting coaching, or what are your struggles for doing that? Is there anything, Lisa, is there anything that like kind of holds you back from inviting people, would you say? Use your words, children.
I just, honestly, I just still haven't gotten over it's not the fear, it's the salesperson-y thing, you know, like, hey, come join us, come, you know, spend your money. And so kind of where I'm at with that is, and the more I reach out, the more I'm finding this out, that there was a girl that got me onto Isogenics about 1.5 years ago. And it was awful experience, lots of money wasted, still have the crappy product in my basement, didn't use it. But what I have also discovered is that she has gone through my entire Facebook page, like all of my friends, and added on all of my friends, and have tried selling a lot of them Isogenics.
Oh God.
So yeah, so I'm finding out more and more and more that she had reached out to these people. So most of the people on my page, I mean, they're all friends and family, you know, or people that I grew up with. So she's already reached out to all of them, and I think that's what, you know, my fear is anybody that has had to deal with her so far, and the fact that, well, she's been connected to all of them because of me. I think that that's what's holding me back from, I don't want, you know, I'm like, okay, I have to recreate this in a different way where they want to come to me, you know, because they see what I'm doing, instead of me being like, hey, you know, come do this with us.
I think
see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the most important thing to remember is that she is not you, and they
Right.
look for you, and they're not going to look at you and think, oh, she is just like this whatever girl. So people know you for you, especially if they're, you know, like your warm market. So I think the best way you can do is, you know, don't feel like you need to apologize for her, that you didn't do it, whatever, you know? And so just basically, you know, and cold inviting, I don't really love cold inviting for coaching. I personally like to get challengers. So I would just go, I think the less scary thing, to get them to be a challenger first. So then once you're challengers, you know, then you're kind of, unless it's somebody that's like a go-getter, and, you know, I still invite people to coaching that haven't been challengers, but for the most part, I'm talking to my challengers. So the biggest thing to remember is, if you talk to them like you would talk to your best friend, they're not going to think you're salesy. If you go into it worrying you're going to sound salesy, you're probably going to sound salesy. So just be like, this girl needs to join me. She would be so much fun in our challenge group. If you have that mindset versus, or this girl would be so much fun to coach with, or she would be perfect for my team because she is my person. When you're like, hey girl, I don't know if this is for you or not, but seriously, I love your post. You're so positive. You're so fun. Your daughter is adorable. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I keep thinking you would make an amazing coach. And I just really love coaching because it's really it just helps me stay motivated with my workouts and my meal plans. And, you know, it kind of helps me to get discounts on the Shakeology that I've gotten great results with. And it's just really fun, and it keeps me, you know, accountable. Would you think you'd want to join me with that? You know, something like that, where you don't talk about, hey, do you want to join my team, or and say, I don't know if it's for you or not, but I thought of you because you're so positive and I love following your posts, and I just think that you would inspire so many people. So giving them like a compliment and saying something that you see in them that I'm sure they don't see in themselves would kind of get the wheels going, like, oh, I never thought I could be a coach, or, you know, something like that. And I just always downplay it and just be like, it's so much, I really enjoy it. It's so much fun. It keeps me accountable. And, you know I'm super busy. I know you're super busy, but it just gives me kind of like a fun outlet to, you know, help others by, you know, just kind of talking about my journey.
I don't know if you saw this, April, or I know you said you listened to some of it, the National Wake Up Call with Jen Richards. Did you listen to some of it, like the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I didn't listen to all of it, but I know, Lisa, do you have an Instagram? You do? Okay, so she was talking about, which I thought was pretty neat, she was talking about how in the beginning of her business that she only had her warm market on Facebook, like just her friends and family, people she went to college with, and she was like really embarrassed to like confront people about it. So she like ran her entire business off Instagram from the very beginning, when it was like, you know, only 4 different options to use for filters and no Insta stories or anything like that. And she saw a lot of success because she could like tone into her target market, and she felt more comfortable talking to strangers than she did to the people she knows. So I feel like that would really resonate with you. Like if you would go on your Instagram and really start like using hashtags, like looking into your target market, whatever that is, and then like start, you know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't have to be that you're just messaging people randomly, but just like shooting them a message like, oh my gosh, your kids are so cute, or, you know, whatever, or asking them advice on something, and then like building relationships from there so it doesn't feel like icky or fake.
Yeah, actually that is what I have been doing, especially this past week, because I've had an Instagram account, but I've never posted anything. So this week is like, was kind of like my build up all the way through, which is great because I went from having like 2 followers to having 79. So, and people, I have no idea who these people are, you know, but because I've been hashtagging all of my stuff, all these people started following me, which is great. But I've also been reaching out to those people being like, hey, you know, I saw you liked my post, or whatever, like, are you interested in, let's see, what did I say to a couple of people? I said that I was new to coaching. I was doing an 80-day program, and that, you know, based off of what their page looked like, that they might be interested in joining me if they had any interest in it. And no responses at all.
So I feel
Just
like
no feedback.
I was the same way in the beginning. Like, people wouldn't contact me because they didn't trust me. Like, I was a brand new coach, so they were like, okay, well, guess what? There's hundreds of thousands Beachbody coaches, so why would I go?
Yeah.
So like for me, like I always, like, Heather can vouch for this because we used to get on power hours every morning, and hey girls were the last thing we did. Like, we would avoid them. We never did them in the beginning. But as a brand new coach, I feel like it's so important to build those relationships first. So don't send them a cold invite, but go to their page. And if they're liking your post, show them love too. Like, comment on your post, like, you know what I mean? Talk about their family. And then when you message them, don't say a word about your workouts, about Beachbody. Talk about the new sweater that somebody got, or maybe where their family vacation, because that's something that they're going to be like, hey, I'm going to answer you because you're genuinely interested in my life, not just my money. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So think about how many salesy like messages we get. Like, I get some of them and I'm like, I just want to like message them back and be like, listen, girl, that's not how you do it, you know? So just think about that. But I think that would be like really good for you, you know, to just start building that on Instagram.
Yeah. And actually I feel way more comfortable posting stuff on Instagram, sharing in Instagram stories, because these people obviously came to my page for a reason and started following me for a reason. But when it comes to sharing it on my Facebook page, I'm like, yeah, no, not interested.
Listen to that National Wake Up Call, the last one with Jen Richards. She literally said the exact same thing.
Okay. All right. So how do you find that information for the National Wake Up Call once it's already, you know, passed?
I can send it to you, but you can get, you know, the podcast app we were talking about. It's in there.
Yes. Okay. Podcast app. Got it. Okay.
And then, and when I say cold invite or cold market, that's exactly what Rachel said. Is it's not, hey girl, thanks so much for the love on my post. Do you want to join this? And so it's like, hey, maybe one extra message, just like that one extra message. And it doesn't have to be, and going through and kind of engaging with them. And it doesn't have to be like a week's worth of like, hey, what's your social security number and your daughter's favorite color, you know, but just getting to know them a little bit. And then doing it. So the important part of this is to track it. Because if you just send them a message and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you forget about it, that's not an invite. That's you're forming them and you're starting to talk to them. But how I like to do it is I'll do, I write down their name, their email, what else? And if I'm inviting them to coach or client, and then I'll also, if it's on Instagram, I have an account, or I have a thing for their actual Instagram name. And let me show you something, because otherwise you'll forget. You will not be able to keep up with it. You will not be able to remember. So if you are following somebody, I'm going to go to Rachel because she popped up. All right. So here I've got Rachel. And then if I click these three dots up here. Boop. Hold on. At the bottom, it says turn on post notifications. So I could click that, and then I would get notified every time Rachel makes a post. So I'll get a little notification, then I'll go to Rachel's post, and I'll like it, and I'll make a comment like, oh my gosh, your son is so adorable. I just freaking love your videos. Something like that. So, you know, I say maybe try to find like 3 to 5 people a day. That's kind of like your person. And maybe for, a couple days where you like and comment on those 3 to 5 people, and then they're gaining trust with you, engaging with them. And then you can say, girl, I don't even know how, like, we started following each other, but I just love your post. You seem like, seriously, just right up my alley. Have you ever thought about doing this boot camp thing from home? Feel them out. Do you think they should be a coach? Do you think they should be a challenger first? See where they are. If they're already working out regularly, do you want them to join you as a coach? Just kind of feel them out. But I think that that's a really easy way to remind you if they're, kind of posting on Instagram, to go love on their posts. But always write down them. And you can do direct messages, but then I always try to get them to email, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. I want you guys to build your email list, because if Facebook or Instagram would go away, so would your business. So I really want you to focus on building your email list. Search bar in the coach office will bring it up and you can listen to it online. Yes. And what is it, Beachbody 411? What's the page they're going live in now? Beachbody 411. So is it every National Wake Up Call? Was she live in there for this one too? Okay. So I think everyone now is live. And so when it's live, it's also recorded there. So you can probably go back and listen to it in that group too. But yeah, like Angie said, you can look in the Coach Online office, and that it's just so helpful, because we look at these coaches and we think that they just had it easy. No, they had the same struggles that we did. Just listen and do what they're doing. All right, so I wanted to cover scripts, I wanted to cover role playing, and then where to find coaches. So what I did was, like I said earlier, and I posted some of this in the Beautifully Made team page, some of these tips that I had. Okay, so this was me struggling this morning after 4 days of not having PD. And I said, I have 45 minutes. What's the most important thing for me to do? And she said, if there's nothing else I can do for my biz in a day, I do Instagram stories, 1 quality post, and 25 messages. I said, are they cold invites? She said, yeah. And then I said, are they messages to people engaging with your post? She said, yeah. So she maybe have engaged with them a little bit before and they were on her list, and then she goes to invite them, kind of what we were saying. But she said she goes through her new followers and people that watch her story and people that like or comment on her post, and she just makes a list every day of 25 people, and then she goes and sends them some type of invite. So I mean, that's it. I mean, if 25 is super scary to you and you don't have a huge following, start with 5. Start with 5. I mean, if you do 5 invites every day, what does that do for your business? How many are you doing now? Can you say you're doing 5 every day? That's, just start simple and then grow your goal. I'm telling you, when I was, really pushing for elite and, pushing to build my business, when I was doing it full time, I was inviting no less than 15 people a day, because that was where my focus was. And that's, I mean, even if I'm not doing it full time, that's easy. It's simple to do that if you stop scrolling your newsfeed, if you stop doing pointless things that don't matter. What do you want to do? You want to grow your business? You got to build your team. And it's not just challengers. As much as I love my challengers, I am going to pour myself into my coaches, because that's where your income and your volume is really going to grow. Making your challenge groups awesome is very important too, because those are the people that are going to want to join you. But if you really want to make big goals with Beachbody, you can't just keep saying, oh, I want to do this, or oh, I want to do this, or oh, I want to buy a mountain house, if you're not willing to grow your team, because that's where it's going to happen. You're not going to be a 6-figure earner selling 25 challenge packs. I mean, that's not sustainable. Some people have, huge success club numbers as well. But you don't need to do that. Like for me, when, growing my business, I had 20 success club points was kind of like my non-negotiable. And I had 15 to 30. So I'm talking about 2015, because I know I tracked it every month. I had a big whiteboard and I was really pushing. So I tracked it every month. I tracked my ranking. I tracked my success club points. I tracked how many coaches I signed. Bye, Heather. And, my big goal, because I was doing this full time without kids, mind you, was, 15 to 20 every month. And I did that. And, you know, there was one freakish month where I had 56 Success Club points. That's like my highest ever. And that's not something sustainable. That's not something that I'm going to beat myself up for never hitting again, but it can be done. It wasn't me like not sleeping. It was just me living in my database, living in follow-ups, living in inviting 10 people a day. So you can work this business as much or as little as you want to, but you have to realize that it comes down to you helping more people. And when you stop thinking about it as a chore and start thinking about it as a blessing, that's when you're inviting for that passion to help more people, not because you want to be the leaderboard on your Success Club. You don't the leader on the Success Club board. So you have to also kind of have a passion and be excited and know what this business can do for you. When I tell you I had $7 in my bank account, I was able to quit my job. I was able to, I think in 2016, I think we paid off like $20,000 in debt. It's crazy to me what Beachbody has been able to do by working from social media. It's literally 95% through social media. On my downtime, where I used to just spend scrolling, I now have a purpose. So you kind of just have to, give yourself a check. Are you scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, or are you working your business? Because how many people are guilty of scrolling and doing mindless stuff? That doesn't matter. We all are. So make that your non-negotiable. Don't even check your notifications until you go into your Messenger or you go into your Instagram and you do your stories, you do your invites, whatever. Melanie Mitchell always says that. If you're the person that likes scrolling, then fine, do it. Reward yourself after you do your invites. She doesn't even check her notifications until she goes and does her power hour. So treat this business like a business, and that's when you're really going to see it grow. But also don't do it out of obligation. Do it because it brings you joy and you know that you have the ability to change somebody's life. If you think about, something like, it doesn't have to be a Lindsay Matway story. Her story is amazing. She had, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt from her daughter's heart surgery and, was a bartender, waitress, and, now makes like millions a year in Beachbody, helping people lose weight online. So it doesn't even have to be like that amazing of a story, because sometimes that feels unattainable. But, there's people that have been able to go part-time. There's people that have been able to just help out with their bills, which is a huge, a lot of times if you're a stay-at-home mom or something like that, or, you feel like your husband or your significant other is the person that's, contributing the most, or, if it's just you wanting to be able to not just be able to have the bare basics and want to have, the things that you've been telling your kids no because you can't afford it. Like, okay, yeah, you want, Doritos for our movie night? Fine, you can have it because it's $4 and I don't have to check my bank account before I have it. Whatever it is, it can be so simple, but you have to think about what you really want. And that's why like our vision that Rachel talked about this week is so important, is you have to figure out what's important to you and, really just think about what's your heart. It's the same thing as those people that say they don't have the money, So, I just can't stress enough is that this business is what you make of it. And you just have to go in it and think you have the ability to change somebody's life instead of I'm going to sound salesy. And that's really the biggest change. And like Rachel and Heather said, is that they don't realize, they don't go in thinking like of the price being too much, because they see the value, they know the value, they have had, their own results. So I think the most important thing is be a product of the product, just keep talking about it. And even if there's people that are, they're not willing to do the 5 days, like Angie said, then, maybe that person just isn't there yet, but keep talking to them, keep encouraging them, and keep checking back with them. And if it's not right now, it could be soon, but don't be afraid to give people a dose of tough love too, because you really don't want it bad enough if you can't even commit to 5 days. So, yeah. All right. So we've been on here for about an hour. Is there any other questions or anything that we, oh gosh, sorry. I got a text. Anything else that you guys need help with before we hop off? Angie, you look like you're thinking. Is there something else you want to say?
I'm trying really hard to think of like good questions, but I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't know any good questions.
No, you're fine. Just what I want you to do is post screenshots and then just tag me in the Emerald Factory, and I'll help you with anything there, because I think some of the hardest part in the beginning is just not knowing how to have like a conversation, is not knowing what to say or, you know, where to go. And so just use us, like ask us, because that's how my coach did with me. I would be like, okay, she said this, what did I say? And she'd, you know, or I might even just voice text it out to you instead of like writing it out, just to give you an idea of what I would do. But that's how I learned, and I'm happy to do that for you too. So.
And then I'll post this in the Emerald Factory, but I have a girl that was a coach that is no longer a coach, but she wanted to order the Shaco, and so I was talking to her about the BOD challenge pack, and I sent her a cart, and I didn't know what the deal is with like new coaches who want, if they want to coach again. So, but you can.
I would say they have to, if they sign up with a different sponsor, they have to wait 6 months.
Okay, I think it's been a year or so.
Then she's
for
fine.
her.
Yep.
Okay.
I would say too, I would just say, you know, maybe you don't want to jump into coaching right away. Maybe you just want to, you know, do it for the discount. But let's get you some results, and you might as well sign up as a coach anyways, because you're going to get a discount on Shakeology next month. Focus on you and your results, and then once you get it, then we can chat about, you know, kind of just doing it as a hobby, or, you know, doing this business and seeing what you want to get out of it. I always like to preface with that, and not just assume people are going to be discount coaches, and say, let's work on you first. You know, if they're not really, you know, I can't wait to coach. Let's work on you first, and then let's talk about coaching, because I really totally think you'd be amazing at it. But let's get you some results so that people can see that it works, and then your you know, Facebook friends will be like, tell me what's going on. So that's kind of how I deal with that, because I don't want to just assume somebody's a discount coach, because then they're like, oh, well, she doesn't think I can do it. All right. Well, I think this was super helpful. You know, I think this will be a good recording for people to see, because a lot of it is just not knowing what to say or where to go from that. So next week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about The Secret. So be sure to read or listen to that if you haven't yet. Even if you have before, it's really a great message. It's also on Netflix. So it's a movie if you want to watch it. So I've read it, and I probably read it twice, but I'm going to go through. I'll probably do it on Netflix, and that's something I'll put it on Netflix but not have to watch it or something, or you can do it on Audible when you're driving, whatever. But yeah, that is next week. So make sure you do your homework, and make sure you are checking in, and make sure you watch Danielle Mullen's video today about taking massive action. She had a really great video. And it basically kind of comes down to what we were talking about. Are you scrolling, or are you doing your invites? So just talk to yourself. If you find yourself, you know, being stressed, like, oh, I really should do my invites, or just think to yourself, am I being busy, or am I being productive? And just get your productive stuff out of the way, so then you can, you know, just have fun and engage with people that are kind of your tribe, that you want to, you know, have join you as a client or a coach. Watching it on Netflix, you really just have to listen. Okay, yeah. I don't feel like I could just sit down and watch it as a movie. Even if I had it on a movie, I'd probably just be listening to it in my ears. So yeah, whatever works for you. So, all right, well, I'm going to hop off here. I need to shower, and I actually have 5 more minutes left to work out because I was dancing. So I'm going to go do that. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. Thanks, Rachel, for your input. Thank you guys for your questions. And I'll post this recording either tonight or tomorrow. So make sure you tag anybody that you think could use it. Okay?
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye. See you guys.